Dad charged after 11-year-old son accidentally kills himself while playing with unsecured gun, police say. Now, this really pisses me off. Gun crime in the US specifically, because obviously, as you all know, in the UK, we're brilliant. We don't have much gun crime. I'm only joking. We do obviously have some gun crime, and we condemn it. We do not condone it. Unlike in the US, where they condone it and it continues to happen. I have no sympathy for anybody who is determined to keep this shit going. So we're going to go through this article today. This sounds really sad. An 11-year-old boy from St. Louis accidentally shot and killed himself while playing with unsecured guns at home, officials said. Police said Marshawn Futrell Jr. was playing with guns from his home on May the 5th when a firearm accidentally discharged and a bullet struck him. His father, Marshawn A. Futrell Sr., has been charged with first-degree child endangerment resulting in death, a Class A felony, and 2 additional counts of first-degree child endangerment, Class D felonies. So the father has been charged with child endangerment, rightly so, in my opinion, for not securing his fucking guns, right? If you have guns in the house, if you absolutely must have guns for whatever reason that you think it's essential, an essential piece of equipment in your life, absolutely make sure your child can't get their hands on it. Period. Right? It should be the most obvious thing to do. But as we're going to find out now, it's going to get so much worse than we thought. There's the boy there. Unfortunately, he is no more because of the stupid gun epidemic in the US. Sorry for anybody that is pro-guns, but I don't see any reason why there should be guns. We're going to have a discussion after this in a second. Police said the dad had 12 loaded guns in the home where children could easily access them. 12, not just guns, 12 loaded guns. They were loaded within the house. Within the house, they had loaded guns. They weren't just secured in a safe somewhere where, and the ammo was safely stored somewhere else. It's just the guns were actually loaded within the home. Oh yes. Investigating officers interviewed a 13-year-old witness who said the victim had 2 firearms in his backpack and they were playing with the guns. The firearm discharged and a bullet struck the victim, the witness told police. So he had 2 guns in his backpack. He walked in to his house or his dad's room or wherever it was they were kept, and he picked up 2 guns, put them in his backpack, and off he went to play with them. Oh yes, that's sensible, isn't it? A 2-year-old was also present when the shooting happened, according to police. Another danger there, it could have happened to the child, a younger child. Marshawn Jr.'s uncle, Harlan Futrell, is still at a loss for words that his nephew is gone. My mind still hasn't processed it to realise he's no longer here with us, Harlan Futrell said. The 11-year-old is described as a great kid who loved his family deeply. When he would walk in the room, he was very quiet and humble, but his smile brightened up the room. He was a hard worker. He loved his family. His uncle said Marshawn Jr. was an incredible football player who travelled the country to play, and he was already one of the top running backs in the country for his age group. So he has a promising future. This child did have a promising future because of this man here. He no longer has a promising future. This is his dad, Marshawn A. Futrell Sr. The child's uncle is asking other gun owners to have talks with their kids about gun safety. That's the minimum you should do. Absolute bare minimum. If you must have guns in your home, talk to your children about gun safety. Don't touch my guns being number one safety tip, right? The second biggest safety tip in the world would be to get rid of your guns. I bet that household does not get rid of their guns after this. That's my prediction. Get guns get gun locks and put them up where the kids can't get to them, Harlan Futrell said. Caitlin Vogel is an injury prevention coordinator at Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital in St. Louis, and said she goes out into the community weekly to offer free gun locks. So there's no money factor here to get your guns protected. Guns in general, gunshot wounds, are the leading cause of death of pediatric patients. That's preventable, Vogel said. Vogel said on a weekly basis, workers are going into the community to give out free gun locks, including at events, schools, or going door to door in neighbourhoods they've treated victims in. In 2025 so far, Cardinal Glennon has given out about 3,000 free gun locks. Kids are smart. Kids can find guns even if they're on the top shelf, Vogel said. The most important thing is locking up those guns and keeping the keys separate so they're not able to unlock that gun. The other part is locking up your ammunition separately so they're not able to load that gun. And that is the thing. You've got to have so many different strategies in place to make sure that if firstly the gun is accessed, that it's not loaded, and secondly the ammo is stored elsewhere where a child can't get at the ammo to load the gun, and obviously the keys to the gun lock should be stored somewhere else. So there's various different steps in order to get your hands on that gun, and yet again they failed. These have failed to protect their children, and it blows my mind. This man deserves everything that he gets. Many emergency rooms will give out gun locks for free, no questions asked. There's also a GoFundMe to support the Futrell family with the unexpected funeral costs for Marshawn Jr. He was loved. We lost a good one, his uncle said. Marshawn Futrell Sr. is being held in the St. Louis County Jail on a $100,000 cash-only bond. He has a bond reduction hearing set for Wednesday. So, gun crime. It'll come as no shock to you that I am completely, totally and utterly against gun ownership and gun usage in any way, shape or form, because there is no use for it, there's no need for it, there's nothing that I can think of that you would need a gun for, right? Let's go through a list of things that guns can be used for by the ordinary person, right? Shooting people. Not allowed. Not necessary. Shooting foxes, if you're into that. Don't know if that's allowed in the US. I think it's illegal in this country, but also it's very immoral and just shouldn't be done. Period. Right? Shooting... Maybe protecting your house. Maybe you feel like you need to protect your house, right? Okay, I get that argument. That argument happens a lot. But my argument to that is that if guns were not allowed, then the people with guns going into your house, you wouldn't need guns to protect yourself because other people don't have guns, right? That's a thing. What else can you use guns for? Shooting range. Alright, I get that. Some people just enjoy shooting guns, right? I don't, but some people do. We even have them in the UK. We have them, but guns, when you go to a shooting range, I believe, are stored at that range. You can't take them home with you, right? So you go in there, they're stored securely, and you pick them up when you go to your little gun club, right? In the US, that's not the case. You can take them with you wherever you want, and I mean, there might be some restrictions about like flashing your gun around in public, right? But you're allowed to bear arms because apparently it is your which amendment is it? The Second Amendment. It's one of those things. Now, I don't want to come down hard on the US's like their history and things, because I know they have all these rights that are written in history from years ago. But my point is, what was the case hundreds of years ago where it was written into law that the US, that citizens were, they had a right to bear arms, right? The same things are not happening today as were back then, and they really do need to change and update these things, right? Because modern day is vastly different to back then. Vastly different. There's no reason for you to need to bear arms now, and a lot of US people will always come back to that and say it's written into our policies. Can't remember what it's called now. And they'll quote it every single time. We have a right to bear arms. Well, fuck your right to bear arms. Honestly, I don't care. And to be fair, there's a lot of Americans that they don't want to. They don't agree with it. They want to get rid of guns. But the other thing is that a lot of people, Americans, are very conspiratorial, right? So they think that school shootings are not really a thing, or some of them anyway. They think that school shootings are not really a thing because it's just the government trying to make people believe so that there's a reason to ban guns. No, the reason to ban guns is because of stuff like this article here. Because people do not secure guns, even those that do secure guns, they're not 100% safe all the time. So, when we look at gun crime in the US, we're going to look at school shootings specifically. There are a number of other types of shootings, but school shootings themselves, here we go. How many school shootings? All school shooting incidences from 1966 to present. This was a good website I found, and this is a list or graphs of all school shootings, including when a gun is fired, brandished with intent to harm, or a bullet hits school property for any reason, regardless of the number of victims, time, or day of the week. So this also includes all data, including gang shootings, domestic violence, shootings at sports games and after-hours school events, suicides, fights that escalate into shootings, and accidents. That is all school shootings that happen on school premises or as a result of school, and even if very few people died or anything like that. So, here we go. This is all the school shootings from 1966, where it started off as 9 that year, which is still a high number. I mean, we don't have 9 school shootings, do we? And you can see it's steadily, it's up here, 21, 17, 16, all this. It's not too high. Well, it's still a lot, but it's, you know, it's steady, shall we say. It's steady, 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 and then around the early 2000s it goes up a little bit. You can see it's steadily going up ever so slightly, and then whoa, so here in 2018 it zipped right the way up to 119 school shootings. I had to question, is this graph correct to the data? Is it correct? Because it just seemed astronomically high. Was there something that happened in that year where it's almost double? It's about double the amount from the previous year. It's ridiculous, honestly ridiculous, and I don't know what's happened there. And then 124, 116, but look at this, go up 257 by 2021. 2022 was 308. 2023 we've got 349, and last year is 332. So 332 school shootings in 1 year. Just let that sink in for a second. How on earth did you get to a situation where there's 300 odd school shootings in 1 year across the country? I know the US is vastly bigger than we are, so obviously there's going to be more instances of anything, but even still, that's so many. It's too many, right? It's too many. And yet they still don't want to do anything about it. Nothing. Here's the number of victims. If you're not content with amount of shootings in schools, victims. This is, I guess, including fatal and wounded. So it starts off here 1970. You've got 32 victims. Fairly steady, and then 1986 right up there to 92, and it hovers around sort of 68 there, 60, it's down here to 20 in 1990, but then here we go, and it zips right up again in 2018, obviously because the amount of school shootings have increased, the amount of victims have increased, 159, and up here in 2022 you've got 273 victims, and in 2024 you've got 267 victims. 267 people have either died or been wounded as a result of school shootings. And yes, this is actually a thing. So as you can see, this website's very good. It breaks it right down into even where the shootings happened, in the hallway, the playground, in the classroom and things. But yeah, the amount of school shootings is absolutely insane. And I know this one here, this article does not happen within the school setting. It's just stupidity and neglect and negligence that caused this death, which was so sad. But it's just another victim of gun, not crime, but just guns. And for the US to constantly say they don't have a problem they do have a problem. Some people will turn around and say, well, the UK, they have they have knife crime problems, right? Okay, so yes, we do have a knife crime problem in this country, which is really bad. Hate it, by the way. I don't condone them doing it, but also, did you know that it's illegal to carry a knife, even if it's intended to be used in your house for cutting up meat or whatever? It's illegal to carry one on your person. If you're carrying it back from the shop to your home, it has to be in its packaging. That's the law, right? They don't just let you carry it around with you to use it for whatever you want. It's not legal, right? So yes, we have a problem with it and we're trying to tackle it, but we're not condoning it, right? We're not condoning carrying these things. We also do have probably a larger gun problem than is reported, which is not good either, right? But we're not actively trying to allow it to happen. We don't have a school shooting issue in this country, because when we did have one school shooting, bear in mind one, if you remember, it was the Dunblane school shooting where 5 and 6 year olds were killed, and it was like the most horrendous thing that's probably ever happened in this country, ever. When it happened, within days, we took action. The UK took action. They had a gun amnesty, if I remember, where you could hand in your weapons without question, right? And then the laws were changed. I don't fully understand it myself, but certain guns, is it semi-automatic or something like that? Don't quote me, because I'm not a gun person, but certain types of guns were banned completely, and now you can only use certain guns within a controlled setting in gun clubs and things like that. You can't just generally carry like guns to defend yourself. That's not legal. So my point being is, whilst yes, there is still an element of the criminal that will carry guns and cause harm to people, it's minimalized. We try to tackle it. In the US, they don't try to tackle it because they have a legal right to bear arms, which, I'm sorry, is ridiculous. I'm sorry, but I would prefer to keep kids safe. I would prefer to keep everybody safe rather than your right to carry guns. I'm sorry, but that's just the way I see things. You can't. A lot of the defense, whenever there's a gun crime happen anywhere, there's always the defense saying that it's people that kill people, guns don't kill people. So basically, it's not the gun's fault, it's the person carrying the gun that's the problem. Right, okay, thanks. But that doesn't mean to say you give them a gun or you give people the opportunity to use a gun just because, you don't know. Like, there's been plenty of instances where people with mental health problems carry guns or have managed to get their hands on a gun, but how are you supposed to combat that? Because maybe when they got that gun, they didn't have mental health problems, right? But also, it's not always the case, is it? It's not always people with mental health problems that go on a shooting spree. It's just not. So, yeah, the only way to solve this issue is genuinely to clamp down on the gun usage. The US, half of the US anyway, would go mental if that happens, and I think that's the problem. There's not enough people that can see that there's a gun problem for there to be change. and I don't understand it. I don't understand why you'd want a gun. For what purpose? Give a reasonable reason why you should have a gun, what you would use it for, you know, and then we can talk. But until then, no.